Welcome to the SoloCEOs, the podcast for solopreneurs by solopreneurs. Here we celebrate, commiserate, and problem solve all the wonderful craziness that comes with building a business on your own terms. I'm Marilyn Johnson, a supplier development and supplier diversity consultant,
and I'm Sarah Winston, executive coach and leadership consultant.
Hey everybody, it's Terra and
it's Marilyn, and we are the what?
We're the SoloCEOs.
Yeah,
girl. Sarah, do you think they remember us? It's been a minute.
You know, I think they will remember us simply because don't nobody get out here on the interweb and act crazy and be honest. Hello? Yeah, no.
Oh, fam, we missed you. We missed you so much.
We had some adventures.
Well, and what better time to come back and talk about it? Because, the end of the year is a great time to be thankful, to reflect. And we figured that we couldn't go into another year without
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the SoloCEOs, please share this podcast with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest, you can follow us on LinkedIn or Instagram at the SoloCEOs, or stop by our website for videos, resources, and other great stuff. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. That has impacted us in 2022. Some are good, and then others we could use without. Tara, talk to me about your year. How has it been?
Wow,
it's a year, girl. What?
It's a year. It has been a year. Yes, it was in fact a year. Now the year actually, I think everyone had ups and downs, and that's true for me. I would say on the business front, I've been super busy, which is a wonderful thing to have.
No, it's not, because she ain't got no time. None.
I was about to go into other piece, right?
Okay.
It's so wonderful to be booked. I love my clients, I love my work, and that's the thing that we dream of not having. We dream of not having to worry about what's coming in. Here's the flip side of it. There's a real capacity issue. What has come across to me is, overwhelmingly the way I'm working doesn't work for me. Right. To Marilyn's point, it doesn't work for Marilyn. It doesn't work for members of my team. It doesn't work for health. It doesn't work for sleep. It doesn't work for a whole lot of things. And I'm stubborn. I'm used to doing things a certain way. And so, I want to give full credit to, my assistant, my chief of staff that kind of support me. They have been on my back for more than a minute about how do I put more processes in place, or how do I just make things easier. And I kind of hit that wall this year. And so while, busy is good, there's a challenge, right? And I had to, and what I'm still reckoning with is, how do I make changes so that my busyness does not get in the way of the quality of my work, quality of my relationships, or even the quality of my life. That's what's up. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
That is a lot, ma'am. Well, unlike Tara, I have not been super busy. Y'all, it's crazy. I had one major client. All of them quit. So here's the reality about being in business. Solopreneur, entrepreneur. When your primary client shifts, it shifts your business.
Ooh, say that again, slow. Right? When you say your primary client, you say talking about internally, right? Your contact in an organization, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. When they shift, you shift. It's like watching, what's that, the electric slide? You know, 3 to the left, 3 to the right. And it got crazy. It really did. The good thing is that, and Tara and I, we've talked about this before, there is a part of being in business where you have to know really what your value is. And you also have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. So when everybody quit, I was like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And then the next thing was, I'll be all right. That takes some time to get to. I got to it because I can't undo what was done from their perspective. And all of them I love dearly. And I also looked at it as well, they all left this one company and they all went to different companies. Eureka. That's opportunities for multiple companies. Even if it doesn't come right away, it will come. However, at the moment, you're looking at this going, man, this is some revenue. Now, this is where the personal and the professional overlap because I don't know if you all remember, I was in the middle of some transitioning. I actually moved from Arizona back to Chicago part time. I ain't crazy. I'm not trying to do the Chicago winter, and I'm not trying to do the triple digit Arizona summers. But anyway, because all of a sudden I had more time than I had anticipated, I was able to focus on the personal piece because so much of me being in business has to do with my mental health. I needed to be able to be in a space where I felt challenged, accepted, have fun, be close to people I know, I love, I like. And that's exactly what I did. So the lesson I learned was you can you can ebb and flow all you want as long as your ebb and your flow gets you into a mental space which provides you with a healthy outlook. That's what it did. Yeah. Is it fun moving? No. Was it worth it? I'd do it 1,000 times again because that way I was in a space where people were within within reach of me and I was within reach of them. And all of that happened because I wasn't crazy busy with my other clients. Some of my clients, thank goodness, they were slow this summer. So that allowed me the time to do what I needed to do. And trust and believe I didn't miss no checks.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't as big as sometimes they could have been, but I wasn't out there on the street corners with a cup and a sign. And one thing too that I've learned is we can live as big or small as we need to.
Mm.
It really just depends on what your outlook is. I don't have to live big, y'all. I don't have to wear a whole bunch of fancy clothes every day because now, thanks to COVID, people are comfortable with this type of interface. So as long as I look like I'm okay up top,
y'all, she's wearing footy pajamas at the bottom. You don't even know right now.
you have no idea, right? And so that was really the biggest thing was the ability to make adjustments that actually put me in a better mental state so that I could move forward and go out and deliver the content that I needed to for my customers. And that was, primarily because, hey, there was a major shift with one of my clients. That was cool.
Marilyn, I would love to dig a little bit into kind of dealing with a slowdown, right? Because there's so many people, I think that's probably the biggest fear people have going into solopreneurship is like, what happens when the money doesn't come? And so you're now to a point where you're like, okay, I don't start to panic and throw together a resume right away, right? But like what was that transition? Like, do you remember when it happened? Like, how did you go from like that anxiety to I can do this?
Oh my gosh, the anxiety. So Tara, we've talked about the wall of fear.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably for me, though I went through the wall of fear. And the wall of fear, folks, is when you're looking at your income, or in my friend's terms, you're looking at outgo and income. And if your outgo is more than your income, you got some issues. And you have to make a decision then, am I going to go look for another job or am I going to power through it? I walked through the wall of fear 20 years ago where I just knew that what I was doing was the right thing and I just stayed persistent. Did I live much smaller? Absolutely. So I started adjusting things. So now I go 20 years from then to today. Because I was able to make adjustments in my lifestyle, and I'm not a spendthrift. So I knew that, hey, I could pay all of my expenses and still continue to try and cultivate those relationships. Now, Tara, you and I get customers differently. I think that's important for people to understand. I typically am working with corporations, and so I try and connect with customers not only through word of mouth, but now that things have opened up, I go to conferences. But I hadn't been in any conferences. So I was feverishly calling people to let them know, hey, I'm still out here. The thing is, what happens when they don't pick up the phone? Well, hell, I don't even have most of their phone numbers anymore. So what happens if they don't answer the emails? Then I call somebody else. It's the consistency, and you have to have a rhythm where you're very consistent in continuing that to get in front of people. And I think that part of not being afraid and freaking out is that you stay busy. It's one thing that if you are stuck in place, you feel like, uh-oh, the world is coming to an end. When in fact, if you stay busy and do the things that you know typically work for you as far as getting customers, but also you stay busy mentally, physically. So everything cannot be about always getting a customer. I would go walking, I walk with my sister-in-law, I walk with some friends, and then y'all know I like to eat a whole bunch. So I would, and I don't even eat expensive food. Well, sometimes I do. But anyway, go just go and do the things that make you happy, because again, if you are in a good positive mental space, your energy will continue to kind of regenerate yourself so you can go back and try and get those customers again. And you just have to keep at it. And I know people say that's easier said than done. Folks, I did it. You just have to you just have to do it. I mean, Terry, you talk to them about how you get your customers, because we have two totally different kinds of customers.
Yeah, completely. So I have both individual and corporate customers. And by nature of my work, I am predominantly referral. Right. And so people hear about me, and again, the kind of work that I do, they need it at a very specific time. So I could be talking to them for a year, but they don't need it for a year. They need it on this one day when this issue pops up, sometimes for like things like my facilitation and even sometimes my coaching. And so for that, it's staying in contact. It's funny, a lot of the things for me was reminding the people around me what I do, so that they have it in mind when someone has a need. They go, oh, I know someone that does that, and they kind of they line me up, and that has been by far the way that I make my money. But because of that, it's much harder to say like, oh, this thing is going to hit at this time. So even, I had a season where I went into debt. Because I was paying for things on credit cards, and like some of that were the business expenses, and some of that were my personal expenses. And I think that's what helped me get through the wall of fear, because I could sustain myself long enough to get my legs back underneath me. And so oftentimes what that wall of fear will do is it makes you wonder if you like, can I ever get back to it? Like, will the money ever come? And that's a little doubt. The honest answer is you just have to survive the season.
Yeah, and it really is a season. And I was just talking to a friend earlier today about things that we do to stay afloat. Back in the day, y'all, when things were slow, I would pick up classes. So I would teach, and Tara did too. And we would call it our pocket change, because they're not paying adjuncts a lot of money. They truly are not. But the biggest benefit wasn't the money, because there was no money. It was our brains were constantly working. When you're around other people, they give you ideas that you hadn't thought about. It's just being in an environment that feeds you. But only you can answer that question. What environment feeds you? And then sometimes you have to take a chance and say, hey, you know what? I've never done this before, because I'd never taught. I never even wanted to teach. But I said, you know what? What the heck? It's 16 weeks. I'll give it a shot. And actually, I really enjoyed it. I got more out of it from interfacing with the students than I ever thought that I would get out of it. So yeah, it's just walking through walking through that wall of fear. But let's get back to 2022, ma'am. Because
Oh, absolutely. Wow, like 2022 has been a thing. Like I want to kind of double down on you making an investment in your mental health and your quality of living, right? By moving. And so for me, I had a space where I realized that I'd not been caring for my mental health, right? I've been running so much, and it wasn't until kind of the end of the year that I realized that I was always either working, thinking about work, thinking about kind of other responsibilities. But when I slowed down and got quiet, I actually was dealing with a little bit of sadness and depression in a way that I didn't, it didn't look like anything that you see on TV. It didn't I the one most surprised by it, like who knew? But I just realized I didn't really take that kind of time. And um I had a great friend that convinced me to go on a vacation.
I was about to say, Tara, you got to give people the before so they can understand.
So they can understand the after. Exactly, right? So out of the blue, a friend of mine says, "Hey, I'm getting time off. I want to go to South Africa and I want to go with you." And I was like, "Here's my credit card. Let's make it happen." And she found a tour group, which I wasn't even thinking about. And I really just honestly, I slotted it as a to-do. Like, yep, I'm going on vacation, to-do checklist. I'll do that at some point. And it just so happened, I mentioned it one day on a call that Marilyn and I had with a client. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to South Africa." And Marilyn was like, "Well, what? Well, I'm going too then." Okay.
Well, so now you all understand what I say when I say she is not forthcoming. She don't tell me nothing. I had to find stuff out after it's been done. I'm like, "Hello, what the heck is that?" Right? So keep it going, ma'am.
That's how fast I was moving. Like literally, I was like, "Yes, okay, credit card, move on to the next thing on the to-do list." And I hadn't even really, I hadn't even settled in with me. And so I literally, no lie, literally Marilyn found out because we were trying to arrange.
We were on a call. Now, y'all, you have to understand that I talked to Tara. If there's 7 days a week, I'm gonna talk to this chick a minimum of 4 days. So how did this get past her to tell me? Yeah.
We were.
And you thought we was friends? That tells you.
Whatever. No. What I'm saying. I love you, man.
Tell it to somebody else.
And so, but thankfully there's enough time that Marilyn's like, "I'm going to," right? And so we embarked. They let us into a whole nother country. They must, I don't know what they were thinking of.
So let me tell you this. This is, I think, what has also kept us afloat as solopreneurs. Everything has a time and a place and a season. And I am a true believer that everything ain't deep. It just doesn't have to be deep. You just have to make
that is very true
and roll with it. And so when Tara mentioned the trip to South Africa, trust and believe I had never thought I was going to go there. Honestly, I don't even know if I wanted to go. I just knew I wanted to get on another vacation. Since I was having an amazing summer, I said, you know what? I need to keep this fun going. It has helped me mentally. It has given me the energy to go out there and have multiple discussions with potential clients. And what the heck? I've never thought about going. Okay, I'll go. I mean, it was literally like that. And then I told a friend of mine, my college roommate, and she's like, "Oh my God, I've always wanted to go. It's on my bucket list." I said, "Girl, I don't even have no bucket." But okay. And so then they let the 4 of us into on another continent, right? Hello.
What were they thinking?
So let me just set this up. Please let me set this up, because this is how I tell people. We flew. I actually went to a conference, cut the conference short, and flew from New Orleans to New Jersey, met up with Terra and my friend, and we flew 16 or 18 hours to Johannesburg. But the best part is, I kept going, I don't even know if this is true. We might be in a whole nother continent and be there by ourselves. We don't know nobody there. And Tara's like, "Oh, you are just so skeptical." But I knew that we had hit on something great when the first place we entered. We had no idea. The tour guide, the lady who runs the company, which is Black Girls Travel Too, I cannot say enough great things about her.
Yeah.
The first thing we did, we talked to her on the phone when we landed, and she gave us 2 options. to go to the hotel because we'd been in the air for forever and get some rest, or meet them at dinner. And the three of us, Tara, myself, and my friend, we were like, well, hello, we going to dinner. Folks, we didn't know where we was going to.
Man, we look like
Tell them
homeless
where we
people.
went to. This was the first thing we did. First place we went to when we got to South Africa. I'm gonna let Tara tell you.
Well, okay, y'all need to imagine that we look like we rolled around in our clothes because we've been on this 16-hour flight. We smelled like
yesterday.
Like yesterday, all element. We pull up to Sanctuary Mandela, which was Nelson Mandela's presidential residence that has a private restaurant. And we rolled in there looking like
we just did. But we didn't even know that that's where we were going. Hello?
Oh, well.
The doors open and we have two people standing outside of the transport to say hello to us. And we're like, what? And Tara said, you think it's real now? I was like, I hate you.
I know, Marilyn. I was like, is it a scam now, Marilyn?
Like, I hate you.
But like all that to be said, so number one, Black Girls Travel 2, gonna say the name of the company again. The
Black Girls Travel 2.
It was a great experience and run by a solopreneur. So like, stay tuned. Yes. We're gonna get her on the podcast and talk about her story, because we believe in supporting solopreneurs, even like with our own money, with our time, and all that kind of stuff. But for me, like over the course of the trip, which was 12 days, I began to exhale in a way that I didn't realize I was holding my breath. We didn't do any work. Like there was Marilyn laughs at me, like from back when I was a management consultant, like I actually get anxious when I don't have my laptop with me. Like
crazy woman.
It's a problem. And
life is too short for that.
Right. And so I left my laptop. I'm like, I'm good. I'm going on vacation. I'm shutting down. And like, I think what it reminded me of, there's a lot of research around the cognitive load of constantly making decisions, constantly holding things that we as entrepreneurs do, and to let all that go and to be completely cared for. So the only decisions we had to make were off of the menu. What did we want to eat? And oh, by the way, the menu was curated. It wasn't even a whole menu. Of the three things on the group menu, what do you want to eat? Everything else was done. And there was someone else that actually could had the responsibility. And for me, Marilyn, you can talk about kind of what was refreshing and important for you from Getaway, but for me, that was a big realization of how much kind of rest and restoration I needed in my life. And it wasn't just, oh, Tara needs to go to a spa and get rubbed on. Now, don't get me wrong, I love it. But really what needed to be added to my self-care was taking off some responsibility, give times and places where I didn't have to hold all of that. And I say that because from self-care gets a whole lot of hype, but really what people are talking about is, oh, I went and I went to an island, or I put rose petals into my bath, and yes, that's a great part of self-care, but for solopreneurs and for those of us who are carrying these kinds of stresses, like part of it is understanding what do you really need to feed into your soul. What do you really need to recuperate? And what I realized I didn't have is I spent so much of my job and my life caring for people. What I need is a break, and I need time where someone's caring for me. It's not just me in a room by myself, because that means I still had to make all the decisions. I still had to book all the trips. I still had to do all those things to get there. Restoration for me involves me being taken care of. And that was a big aha lesson. And that's huge for me as I go into next year. I'm looking at how I can build more of that in.
So Tara, you're 100% right. But here's something I think is important for people to understand too. Sometimes we go into things not knowing what we were going to get out of them. We went into this vacation. She and I had completely, totally different outlooks. I was just trying to keep my summer going. And she was really supporting her friend. She underestimated just how much she needed to be able to breathe. And allowing someone to do that for solopreneurs is not easy. Allowing someone else to take control of you.
Yeah.
And you just say, here's my money. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money, but here's my money and here's my life. And I'm putting it all in your hands. You don't know a lot of times how often we don't do that.
Yeah.
When people offer you opportunities to go places, the first thing we think about is, well, let me look at my calendar. Oops, my client might be doing something I can't make it, because everything is dependent on work. And once you've had the opportunity to kind of let some of that go and allow yourself to really breathe, you realize that for so long you have been holding your breath. Part of me going from Arizona to Illinois to Chicago was allowing me to let some of my breath out, to be able to breathe. Part of Terra going to South Africa and truly leaving her, because trust me, I've traveled with her. She does not go anywhere without her laptop. Leaving that laptop, y'all, for some of you, it's the same thing. It's like taking an appendage. But not only did she leave the laptop, both she and I allowed someone else to say, y'all are, don't get in your head. I got you. And we were like, really? Because as when I started my business, I was single. Tara's single. As single women, we know that there is no net if we fall.
Yeah.
We're in business for ourselves, and we know we have to stay afloat some kind of way. And so for all of these years, we've been moving like land sharks just so we wouldn't fall. And now we got somebody saying, I want y'all to fall because I got you. So I'm not responsible for me not hitting the ground. I'm letting somebody else do that. That takes a lot, but in the right hands, it can work. And I think at the end of the journey, not only did Tara have awakening, I just had an amazing time. But we were on the trip with it was 14 of us from the ages of 32 to 68. And every single one of the people on the trip, or the women, all had the same feeling. We didn't know how much we needed to be taken care of. People, I can't say it enough. You need to be taken care of, and you need to allow someone to take care of you.
Yeah, and Marilyn, you speak to that. We both were single when we started our businesses. I want to, you're married now, and I want to shout out to all the married women, because just because you have someone in your camp and you have a great partner in your camp, there's still a lot that you hold as as a partner, right? And so again, and shout out to our men that listen to us. Like, it doesn't matter. There's still this space where you hold something. And so, having a place, any place where you can let that all go, is incredibly powerful. And I think it's something that I didn't know how to get before. And I didn't know how much I needed it. Now, Marilyn, you made a point, like you flew from New Orleans. I need to tell y'all, it's never a good time. I don't care who it is. Like there's not a good time. Marilyn came directly and cut her business development trip short. I had a facilitation in California, like damn the other side of the country. And I had to do a really quick turnaround, and I was sweating a little bit about it, to make it fit into my schedule. And I'm so glad I did. But if you think there's going to be a right time, like outside of, outside of like real family conflicts, it's not. So
I mean, real talk.
Yeah.
I had my coach who has been my coach for years tell me, South Africa ain't going nowhere, but you need to go and talk to those customers, because this is the first time they've actually had the conference in the last 2-3 years. You need to go and get those customers. And I kept saying to myself, why does it have to be one or the other? People, it doesn't always have to be one or the other. And Tara's famous thing to me is yes and. Put an and in the middle of that, because you can work it out. You have to work it out to just save yourself. Save yourself. That was my motto. I think I started this whole podcast this year saying, y'all got to save yourself. I didn't know what that was going to look like at the end of the year, but you do. You have to put the and in there so that you can take care of yourself. So yes, you can have your customers and deliver good service of products and goods, and you can take care of yourself.
Absolutely. Well, and I feel like that's maybe that is the theme across the entire year for us, right? Because that and was you moving back to Chicago part-time, right? To kind of be surrounded by the people that you love, and having the life that you want, and for me also, like that and is part of, as I'm redesigning how I work, so that I can meet my clients' needs, but also have more energy time and for myself, right? Like that. I think that's the big push, and that may be the fundamental battle of the solopreneurship, right? Like, what is the yes and? How do we continue to redesign our work and our lives to deliver financially what we wanted to deliver, but also the type of life. And that changes because our life circumstances change, right? So if you're running the same business the same way from the time you start to 10 years later, something's telling me it doesn't fit who you are anymore.
Right, right. Your delivery should be adjusting. But yeah, so all of that to say, we had an amazing time in South Africa. And I will say this, Tara, when people ask me about South Africa and they talk about their tours, I'm going to say we had the best tour because we did.
Because we did.
And we will definitely bring Miss Danny on our podcast so you all can meet her and understand the level of detail this lady goes into. And as a solopreneur, you all know we always trying to give our best. And so we want to bring somebody who that is her motto, is best. And it was just something that is unexpected. I feel like when you walk through the wall of fear, you're more comfortable with the unexpected. You have to be able to let certain things go so that you can move forward. And I've gone to a number of conferences. Tara, you've gone to a number of conferences, and people say, "Oh, all you have to do this," and they make it sound like it's easy. I'm not going to ever tell you it's easy because you have those internal fights with yourself. You have the fights looking at your bills, trying to figure out how you're going to pay them, but you can do it. You have to stay steadfast, believe in yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And move forward. Just keep moving. Just don't stop moving. But in the movement, make sure that when you're doing these things, you're also taking care of yourself, because you have to continue to generate that positive energy for yourself. As a solopreneur, we do it all the time. And of course, we talk community. Now, hopefully your community is better than mine, because you see what happened.
I'm just saying, I knew that was aimed at me. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking this.
Yeah, you know, partners in your community, they going flying all off and they ain't telling you, right? But anyway, no, but you really do have to have a community that supports you, that gets you, so that they can help just kind of keep pushing you forward. Because that's what she and I do. I mean, y'all should have seen us in that hot air balloon. Hello.
Oh Lord. Yes.
Yeah, we did it. We did
it. They got my butt up in a hot air balloon, y'all. And I thought I was never gonna come down, but it was great. Okay, so Marilyn, so 2022 was highly impactful. As we close, the question I have for you is, what are you looking forward to for 2023?
So here's something you know about me. I don't know a lot of people know this. I don't make any of those resolutions. I don't believe in it. I believe that you should try and be the best you can be every single day. And when you find out that you're falling short of that, fix it then. 2023 for me is kind of continuing to grow the business. I am very clear on how many customers I can provide quality goods and services to. More services, no goods. And continuing to take care of Maryland. I mean, be in that space that allows me to continue to grow and be positive and kind to myself so that I can then deliver that forward to my customers, family, and friends. How about you, ma'am?
I like that. Man, I stopped doing resolutions years ago because it won't go nowhere. I was that
January
person.
6th, they gone. All of them.
Man, I was that person. I had
ate
a
pound
list.
of candy.
I forgot I was supposed to go to the gym. It was all bad.
All the things.
It was
None
all
of
bad.
them happened. Yeah.
But I do try to set intentions. As I think about,
because y'all, she deep. She way deeper than me.
Whatever.
Hello.
I try to say intentions.
I intend not to be intentional.
And so self-care is something like that was my big lesson. Like, I hit a wall and South Africa helped me get out of it. And so the commitment that I made with my coach this week, and y'all remember my coach, David, if you have not seen the Guru
Go
Talk,
back and look at that.
It's on our website. David's amazing. And so he had me hemmed up in the corner again this week. And so the commitment that I made is I'm going to start building in self-care into the work as if it were part of the work.
Now, Terra, do remember that this is being recorded.
I know, right? I can't get out of it.
Get that out there, right?
I can't get out of it.
So people
exactly.
Can see.
They're gonna be asking.
She's saying these things.
They're gonna be asking. No, but really, particularly like for the kind of work that I do, I leave it all on the dance floor at times, like when I'm facilitating, when I'm coaching people. And
I'm tired after she's done, and I wasn't even in the room. I'm tired.
And so the idea that and the idea that athletes like a pro football player had a true recovery plan afterwards, and that's built in as part of the work. And so so as entrepreneurs, like it doesn't matter whether you facilitate like I do or you're running meetings or you're making goods, right? Like the recovery is actually should be part of the work.
I love that. So that is, say that again.
Yes, the recovery is part of the work. The recovery plan is part of the work, right? So when you finish, Marilyn does these amazing programs, right, for her clients. Like, what does that look like to not just finish with a client and make sure they get what they want, but like, what do you need when you're done doing that? How do you recover from that? And put it in as a given, like put that into the calendar, put that into the expectations of how you operate, factor it in, and don't let it be around the edges. And so that's my intention and my commitment for this year to be integrated, like the same way we talk about SoloCEO, like our personal and our professional integrated, make that real.
Terra, I really want our audience to send us notes about what their recovery plans look like. I love.
Yes.
What is your recovery plan? Y'all can't just keep looking at us because you see what you get. but I want to hear about your recovery plan. What is it?
Yeah, what do you need to restore yourself, and how do you put it into action for real?
And in Terra's words, be intentional about it.
Absolutely. Yep. Man, look at this. We get to the end of the year and give them homework, but that's all right.
Love it. But it's about you being a better you and just keeping your sanity, making sure that you're healthy and happy so that you can continue to deliver the great work that you do.
Absolutely. And we're going to keep delivering the great work that we do here at SoloCEO too. This conversation, I know, like, you may not always hear from us regular, but when you hear from us, you know it's going to be right. Yes. And so we can't wait to have more conversations with you in the next year. We can't wait to hear from you. So again, send us your recovery plans. We need ideas for our own.
Yes.
Please.
If I can't think of it, I'll take it.
Like we borrow and share in our community in Maryland. That's how that works.
Is that what that's called?
That's what that's called. Not stealing.
I'm from the south side of Chicago. Borrow and share. Okay, that's that.
All right. Right. So what we would love for you is, please, if you like this, share this with people that you care about that could use the same kind of message. Follow us on social media, come to our website. Remember, we've got these other great guru talks that you can also listen to and watch, and just keep doing what you're doing. And for anyone that it feels like it's hard, but it's worth it.
Absolutely.
For anyone that feels like they're alone, you're not, because we're here. And we just can't wait to see you again in the new year.
Yep. Yay. Everybody, listen, have a wonderful rest of 2022. And even if you're listening to this in 2023 and on, everything we talked about still applies.
100%.
Thank you all.
Bye, y'all.
Good talking to you, ma'am.
I know, right?
Yay.
Maybe I don't need a vacation just to talk to you. Well, let's see.
Whatever, man. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the Solo CEOs, please share this podcast with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest, you can follow us on LinkedIn or Instagram at the Solo CEOs, or stop by our website for videos, resources, and other great stuff. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.